10, 9, 8. Ignition sequence start. Engines armed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All engines running.
Hey there everyone, we all know our solar system. It's the place in the cosmos where we live and it is so interesting. Now, have you ever wondered how the sun, the planets, the asteroids and the moons in our solar system were actually formed? So today we will be discussing the most agreed upon theory, which is now a hypothesis relating to the formation of the solar system. This is called the nebula hypothesis. So let's get straight into it. Now, long ago, there was a cloud of dust and gas in space, and near it there was a star. Now, this star exploded with a boom and turned into a supernova. Now, the shock waves were so large that they spread all through space and caused the cloud of dust and gas to compress into itself. So, when the cloud of dust and gas basically compressed in on itself, it again caused another explosion, and then the cloud of dust and gas turned into a solar nebula. So, the solar nebula is basically the start of our early solar system. It was basically just another disk of particles of dust and gas. So the solar nebula was rotating and eventually it flattened out into an accretion disk. Now, from the accretion disk, due to gravity, it started to pull particles of dust and gas towards the center. So, all this matter consisting of dust, gas, even rock, etc., got collected at the center of the accretion disk or solar nebula. So, all this matter eventually became really dense and it produced a lot of heat, forming a large ball of fire at the center of the solar system, mainly made up of hydrogen gas. This is what we now know as the sun. Now in this picture you can see the arrow pointing at the sun, but all the stuff you can see around the sun forming something like rings which we would call today is either particles of gas, dust, maybe even rock, etc., or some matter clumped together which may later form planets, moons and asteroids, as we will see. So there were some pieces of rock, some pieces of gas which were orbiting around the sun in this solar nebula. So these pieces of rock or gas started to clump together due to each of their own individual gravity and they started to form small bodies like asteroids. When more rocks clumped together, they formed small bodies like moons or maybe even dwarf planets. And when even more rock or gas clumped together, they finally formed the planets we know today. So the nebular hypothesis might be able to explain why the rocky planets are closer to the sun and the gas giants are further away from the sun. So the sun produces these things called solar winds, which are something like winds on earth. So during the time of the solar nebula, the solar winds basically pushed all the gas particles further away from the sun as they are lighter, and the particles or clumps of rock and dust were harder to push for the wind, so they stayed closer to the sun. So this is why when the rocks clumped up to form planets, these planets were closer to the sun. And when the gas got collected to form planets, they were formed further away from the sun.